Hello friends, welcome to the Genio studio. Today we are going to analyze the 24th June 2020 Hindu newspaper. The three articles I want to discuss about today, and the first one is India and China to cool down the LAC tension. The second one is undesirable acquittal. Third one is transforming education, and the last one is current affairs. So let's get started with the first article. India and China to cool down the LAC tension. This article all about the final decision of the talks between Corps commander. That is the mutual consensus means the both sides reached at the same point, the same opinion to disengage or cool down the area along with the LAC. This is the context of this issue. Then let's look at the details. India and China has arrived at the movement to disengage the LAC in the second Corps commander level talks after 20 Indian soldiers were killed by Chinese troops in the Galwan Valley of Ladakh. As a phased disengagement or gradually taken disengagement, models for easing out all areas in eastern Ladakh were discussed and will be taken forward by the both sides. How can be modalities taken forward? That's how, by bringing down the number of troops by both sides in the rear bases along the line of actual control, the 3,500 kilometer de facto border. The reason for suggesting this modality is that the increase in number of Chinese troops in the rear base which resulted in the violent clash. Then what is rear base? Which part was known as rear base? It is the part of concentration of military forces that is far from the enemy. Also, the rear contains all logistic elements of the force necessary to support the frontline forces, supply depots, ammunition dumps, and other facilities. From the logistic means the discipline of planning and carrying out the movement, supply and maintenance of military forces. Okay, that is logistic element. So, the rear contains all logistic elements, okay, of the force necessary to support the frontline forces. Frontline forces. It is opposite to the rear base. I think you remember that. So, the front line is the position closest to the area of conflict of an armed forces personnel and equipment. There is further probability where each side's India and China's forces are engaged in conflict. Which type of elements to support? These are the elements: supply depots, ammunition dumps, and other facilities. Then what is supply depots? It's a military installation of battlefield supply near the front lines. Because of the front lane are the dangerous lane, the supply depots are responsible for nearly all other types of material except ammunition. The ammunition is free from these supply depots because that it is expendable weapons like bomb, missiles, landmines, etc. So all I said here that came from the modalities, that's by bringing down the number of troops by both sides in the rear bases along the LAC, the 3,500 kilometer de facto border. Then what is the de facto border? The de facto border is that divides the region between the two countries. For example, the disputed Kashmir region is a de facto border that divides between India and Pakistan. Like that, the disputed Galwan Valley, a Himalayan area along the line of actual control, is a de facto border between India and China. Then in this Corps commander level talk, the Chinese foreign minister termed false information for the incident that China has lost more than 40 soldiers. The challenge of this article is inconsistency. China's decisions may be inconsistent. It made us believe on the violent clash in June 15, even after the talks in June 6, which upheld the process of de-escalation, but the escalation was going on there. How can we ease out this situation? At last, how can we ease out this situation? It is the way which we, the government, highlighted that the process of de-escalation and disengagement by restoring status quo, and the two countries should have a cooperative and peaceful mentality to manage and control the situation easily. It is this that we have to understand with respect of this article. Then take a look at the article from editorial page. Undesirable acquittal. It's about the High Court judgment in caste murder case, and the one who committed the crime was acquitted. First of all, you should know about the meaning of acquittal. It is a judgment that a person is not criminal. He is not guilty of the crime with which they have been charged. The acquittal is permissible or allowable when it is according to the procedures, but it cannot be allowed through the way of money compromise and another political method. When we read this article, we should be aware of Indian protection against conviction of offences. About this, entitled in the Article 20 of Indian Constitution. In this Article 20, three laws are here. The first one is ex post facto law. The second one is double jeopardy, and the third one is self-incrimination. First, we can take up the first one. Ex post facto law. It is a law which imposes penalties or convictions on the acts already done and increases the punishment for such acts. For example, the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961 came into force from 20th-5-1961. A person guilty of accepting dowry is punishable under the Act after 20th-5-1961 and not before. So, if an act is not offence at the date of its commission, it cannot be an offence at the date subsequent or following to its commission. Then we can take up the second one, double jeopardy. The meaning of double jeopardy is the act of putting a person through a second trial of an offence for which he has already been persecuted or convicted. This means that if a person is persecuted or convicted, one cannot be punished again for that criminal act. And if a person is indicated again for the same offence in the court, then he has the plea of double jeopardy as a valid defence. According to the Indian law, it was enacted in the Section 26, and according to the Constitution, it was under Article 20, and it is one of the fundamental rights of the Indian Constitution. And these features of fundamental rights have been borrowed from the US Constitution, and it is incorporated into the US. So I want to revise an example for this law. That is Venkat Raman case. An inquiry was made before the Inquiry Commissioner on the appellant under the Public Service Inquiry Act 1960, and as a result he was dismissed from the service and he was charged for the committed the offence under the Indian Penal Code and the Prevention of Corruption Act. There are two laws, Indian Penal Code and Prevention of Corruption Act. The court held that the proceeding held by the inquiry and didn't amount to a persecution for an offence, so he was guaranteed the protection under the fundamental right Article 20. Then we can take up the third one, self-incrimination. It is a self-harming statement or confessional statement like I am the one who committed the crime or I am the criminal, but he is not really. So the Article 20 of the Constitution prohibits self-incrimination. The cause of self-incrimination may be saving anyone who is closest to him by sacrificing himself. I hope you understand, so there is no need to give an example. Then we can peer at the context of this article. The High Court acquitted B. Chinnaswamy on the charge of the murder of Shankar. He was Dalit caste and he married his daughter. After the High Court awarded B. Chinnaswamy death sentence on the Dalit caste murder, how did acquit him? What is the reason behind it? The HC claimed that this is by the failure to prove conspiracy or as he ordered the group to kill him, but even it is proven on the CCTV cameras. The main question that arises is who had sent the assailants to eliminate the couple if not her father? When they came to kill him, V. Shankar had succumbed to as many as 33 injuries. This happened at a busy marketplace at Udumalpet town in Tamil Nadu in March 2016. But the amazing thing is, the assailants attacked his wife Kausalya, Chinnaswamy's daughter. She survived and sentenced her father before the court. But court acquitted him and closed the case as evidence that her father could not have plotted to attack them. Next we can move on the article from op-ed page, Transforming Education. It's all about to change our current level education into the new level of education. The writer Sujata Bhairavan introduced us to learn everything with interconnectedness. It will widen the surface of our brain and it will start working at the two hemisphere as in overstimulating mode. In this article describes about the holism with the reductionism. So, first we should know about the holism and reductionism. What is reductionism? Reductionism is the belief that human behavior can be explained by breaking it down into smaller component parts. I know you didn't understand, so let me explain it easily. Reductionism is a theory. It's a theory in psychology centered on reducing complex phenomena or big phenomena like human behavior, we said before, into the most basic part or into the smaller component parts. Through this method, we will be able to understand about a topic at deeper and deeper level. For example, in psychology, structuralism. It's one of the first approaches in psychology. So, a reductionist tried to break conscious experiences down into its constituent parts or basic parts like images, sensation, and feelings. I hope you understand now. Then what is holism? It's a theory that parts of whole are in intimate interconnection such that they cannot exist independently of the whole or cannot be understood without reference to the whole, which is thus regarded as greater than the sum of its parts. Holism is often applied to mental states, language, and ecology. For example, in psychology, social psychology looks at the behavior of individuals in a social context. Group behavior may show greater one than the sum of the individuals which comprise it. So, this article all about the example of holism with reductionism. The writer describes about the new learning which will make us understand the climate change from rising anthropogenic greenhouse gases. It's the harmful to our nature. She also wrote about the historian Sunil Amrit's description of unruly waters as the subcontinent history by looking at the rain, rivers, and coasts. The historian writes how water was studied, managed, and divided as a result of human activity through the political and economic development. Here you note that the water and subcontinent history don't have match apparently. But if we think deeply, we can understand that. Then we can look at the current affairs. First, Delhi Urban Art Commission, DUAC. It was formed by an Act of Parliament in 1973. It's meant to advise the Centre on the matters of preservation, development and maintenance of the aesthetic quality of the capital Delhi's urban and environmental design. Recently, the Centre's proposal to construct a new Parliament building in time for Independence Day 2022 was not approved by the Delhi Urban Art Commission. Next important news is The Supreme Court has allowed a woman in her 25th week of pregnancy bearing twins to medically terminate one of the fetus detected with the abnormality. Fetus means the unborn offspring. So the woman has now allowable to abort the one when she is bearing twins. The Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act of 1971 bars abortion or prohibited to abort if the fetus has crossed the 20-week mark. An exception to the law is made if a registered medical practitioner certificate to a court that a continued pregnancy is life-threatening for the mother. In present case, a three-judge bench led by Justice R. Bhanumati set aside the Bombay High Court's rejection. It allowed the woman to go ahead with this procedure after a medical expert reported that the process would not harm the other normal fetus or the mother. That's all for today's discussion. Thank you for your attention and cooperation.